morning, 8:37 on Mornings on the Mall. Joining us right now is Nicholas Ballasy. He is a political correspondent and a video journalist with the Scoop of the Day. Nicholas, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Mornings on the Mall.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Now, you got the scoop of the day, as I said, because you somehow met up, and I want to know how, with Christopher Steele's former MI6 boss, and you got to ask him about the dossier and about Christopher Steele as an employee. How did this happen?
Well, he was doing a discussion at a conference on terrorism, counterterrorism, with the Jamestown Foundation. It was part of a day-long conference of different events, and he was there. And when I saw the press release and the information come through, I said, I saw British intelligence. I had heard of John Scarlett before, and then when I saw British intelligence, MI6 listed on the event information, I saw his name pop up, and I'm like, I think he may have worked there when Christopher Steele was there. So I looked up the information and connected the dots, and I'm like, I have to go there. I have to go and ask him about the dossier, see if he'll talk and give his opinion of what Steele put together.
Yeah. And
the audio clip that you heard is my questioning of him on the dossier and specifically of Steele. And when we got to Steele, I mentioned him 3 times in the audio clip. When we got to him specifically, like what he was like when they worked together, he didn't answer the question. I'm not going to comment on that. And his facial expression kind of changed, and he walked away. So, which I thought was interesting that he didn't even want to say anything positive or negative.
No, it's interesting because you want to see, because you'd expect his former boss to speak for his credibility, and he refuses to say anything, and that's deeply suggestive of the fact that he doesn't have something nice to say. So he's following his mom's guidance. Don't say anything at all. Meanwhile, here is the audio of him talking about the dossier itself. This is what he said to you.
No, I looked at it and I thought these are commercial intelligence reports. I don't know about the sources. They might be right, they might be wrong. And they'll probably be overrated.
Overrated is what he had to say to you about the Steele dossier. So this really is something, Nick Ballasy.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing that he would not say anything at all about Steele specifically. And then also, like you said, Vince, that it's unverified. And he also said politically, it made an impact in the beginning, but then nothing was verified and it was overrated. And he just kept saying, that's what I would say. It's overrated. There was nothing in there that he could say positive at all.
So were you surprised by how candid he was about this and how willing he was to say, overrated? And had anyone ever asked him ever about any of this before? Because I would think when this first came out that reporters are probably knocking down his door to ask him about the contents of the dossier.
You would think so, but I've noticed a lot in Washington over my 10 years in town. I'll see an angle in certain things that other people don't see, and I show up, and I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah.
Nobody's here.
Well, let me ask you then if that happened in the Ted Koppel event, because you got this other audio that everybody's chattering about this morning. When I say everybody, I mean literally just the conservative press. And it's that Ted Koppel is accusing the New York Times and the Washington Post of just having it out for Donald Trump, genuinely, that he thinks that things have really changed at those papers and that they have an animus for the president that's been on display all the way since the election. Were there other reporters at the event that you attended where you gathered that audio?
I didn't notice anybody there except there was a videographer for the institute that was holding the event, the organization. But I didn't see any reporters. There was a lot of members of the public there. I'd say it was a crowd of about 50 people, but I didn't see any reporters, at least none that I recognized. And afterward, I tried to get Koppel to expand a little bit on his comments, and he's like, I'm not doing interviews here. I have to catch a train, and he hopped into his car. But I saw significance in that clip out of the hour-long discussion where he's just basically saying the New York Times, as a news organization, and the Washington Post have made up their mind. Trump is bad for the country, and it's showing. And that Trump's not mistaken in his perception that the media is out to get him. when you hear a legendary anchor like Ted Koppel say that, everybody should be reporting. Even members of the public in that event should be putting that up on social media. Nobody was talking about it.
Now, why in your estimation did this take a while for this to take hold? I saw you posted it. I believe the 8th would have been the day after the event, but that was March 8th. It's now March 20th. Why is it taking so long for this to even get planted in the press?
Well, I do work with several news outlets in town, and I've actually, after I went there, because I think in advance, if I'm like, hey, I'm going over to this Ted Koppel event,
right.
People are like, oh, he's been in the business forever. What's he going to say? But I went anyway. And then after that, I sent it out to a few people. I'm like, hey, I'll give this to you exclusively. I'll post this for you. I'll write it up for you. That's all right. I mean, I had everything.
Holy cow.
Everything listed in there. That's all right. So I posted it on my own. You can find it at nickballasy.com. And it's up there, and I think it took a while for it to get traction, I guess, because I was, I'm working on my next
Yeah,
story.
you've got a job to do. Well, good for you. I mean, you've posted it, and now it's out there in public, and we're glad we could be a help in a small way to advance it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Vince.
This has been great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Nick, good judgment all the way through. Thanks, sir. Really nice to talk to you.